Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the SJPC Cast. Today you have Skylar.
And Gabe.
And this is going to be a quick one because we did, of course, did not have any meetings last week. And this week, City Council is still not going to meet because of the holiday weekend. So we have a couple of things to flag for you on the county side. But first, Gabe, we've got a couple of upcoming events that we wanted to flag. Would you mind running us through what people should be on the lookout for this month?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if folks remember, a couple weeks ago, we had Katie Valenzuela on to talk about the public banking effort that's happening in Sacramento. We just wanted to flag an upcoming rally at the Capitol that is happening on April 22nd, which is Earth Day. There is going to be a press conference and a campaign launch for the public bank, California Public Bank. At the west step of the state capitol at 1 p.m. So that's April 22nd, 1 p.m. We also have a follow up to the listening session that the county held back on January 26th for the Sacramento County jail system. They are having this. This was a packed event. Tons of people showed up,
It was
and
sold
getting a
out. Yeah.
space. Yeah, the getting a space was very limited. So they're changing things up this time. They're actually going to have an online webinar, but they are allowing people who register to make public comment and giving 3 minutes per speaker. So this is going to happen on Thursday, April 23rd at 5 p.m. Registration just opened up on Friday. So I think that there's still a pretty good chance that if you go through the link that we'll leave in the show notes and we'll be posting on our link tree and at our social media and register, that you'll get an opportunity to speak at this Sacramento Jail Planning System Planning Update and Community Input webinar. And I think that ties perfectly in what is coming up this week on the Board of Supervisors side meeting.
Yeah, so as far as that goes, we have a couple of items, and like these, like to be fair, there's a couple of law enforcement related items that we flagged, and a couple of homelessness items that we flagged. The homelessness are pretty procedural. It's items 40 and 41 are their semi-annual homelessness report, where we just kind of get the feed with a report back from the county staff on kind of where they put their money, what worked, what didn't, what they recommend, blah, 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 blah. It's pretty cut. It should be pretty cut and dry, but still, I think worth tuning into if you have the time to check it out. And then item 41 refers to the partnership between the county and then all of the cities within the county, like Galt and of course Sacramento and Elk Grove and like all of the cities that are within the boundaries of the county. You remember this from October. They had their big summit that was kind of a nothing burger. But they are slowly but surely moving forward on stuff. So item 41 is the Homeless and Housing System Partnership Model Update, and they are going to be selecting 2 members to the Sacramento Homeless and Housing Board, which will be the joint body that moves forward on this stuff. So they're still pushing forward on it. It remains to be seen, how effective this is going to be, but still, we are recommending that if you are watching the meeting anyway, please make sure you're tuned in on 40 and 41. And then the other 2 items we have at the county this week, items 28 and 30 are both. I'm not 100% sure that these are, because there's all kinds of, there's a lot of like procedural and just kind of by the numbers stuff where the county is doing something with the state law enforcement, who's doing something with the feds. They're always giving each other grants. And so it's kind of hard sometimes to parse whether something is notable or if it's just kind of business as usual. But just on the off chance, there's 2 items. Item 28 is the authorization to execute a memorandum of understanding with the United States Capitol Police for law enforcement services support within Sacramento County. So if you don't know, just a quick overview, the police department is a city department. So the city runs that department. The sheriff's department, which includes the jail, is a county department. So that's all county services. And then the law enforcement that you see at like the state capitol is all state. That's the CHP. That's the state wing of law enforcement, and so they all kind of work together. Like you may have been to protests and have seen CHP there and the sheriff's there and the police there, and they all kind of come together when there's big actions and they need a whole bunch of folks. But I have never really seen them do like a thing where they're sort of officially bolstering their partnership and how they're going to coordinate with each other. So, for instance, some of the language in item 28 is such coordination may include advanced planning, intelligence sharing, operational support, and deployment of personnel to ensure the safety and security of protected individuals and facilities during official travel, public appearances, and emergency situations. There's a way to read this as there's been a lot of protest activity at the John Moss building lately, and we are real sick of it and looking for ways to crack down on it. So, again, I'm not positive because these things, like I said, are kind of hard to parse sometimes, but kind of maybe one to kind of keep an eye on. And in a similar way, item 30, which is two items later on the agenda, is also an authorization to execute memorandums of understanding between the Sacramento Sheriff's Office and various law enforcement agencies for participation with the Central California Intelligence Center embedded analyst. So the California Central Intelligence Center is their core mission, according to them, is to fuse public safety information and intelligence to support the prevention, detection, and response to terrorism and criminal activity. So, if you are of a certain political persuasion, that the hackles on the back of your neck are probably a little bit raised by that, as mine are. Again, it's kind of hard to know how much of this is by the numbers and how much of this is them just trying to kind of bolster their things. But like, if you look at who the state of California and the county sheriffs and the city police are referring to as terrorists or criminals, it's almost always lefty protesters at protest events, the likes of which, like we mentioned, there have been a lot of at the John Moss building lately. If you've been paying attention, you've seen that, Antifa gets branded as terrorist organization all the time. But of course, those of us who were out there, who have attended protests for like George Floyd and Stefan Clark and things like that, have also seen all of these branches of government either turn a blind eye to what right-wing groups like the Proud Boys are doing, or like actively assist them in whatever it is that they're trying to do. So whenever the sheriffs start talking about, using terms like terrorism and, prevention, detection is one of the ones that's kind of scary to me, and response to terrorism. I think it's fair for people who are out there exercising their First Amendment rights to keep their ears perked up and pay attention, because this sounds like a way to me for law enforcement agencies to kind of team up against people who are protesting. Long story short, that said, I could be reading it wrong. So this isn't really I don't want to like raise an alarm, but maybe just be careful and keep an eye on what is happening here.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Other than that, that's kind of what we've got going on this week. So I think we can just kind of keep this one short. We don't have any city shenanigans to flag for you this week. It's all county shenanigans. But regardless of what you're doing out there, be safe and pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah. And until next week, stay vigilant.